Hello Steelers, and welcome again to another bench report. As you can see here, I've got a pretty empty bench this weekend, simply because I'm come to the end of painting all the 1/300th First World War aircraft. Finally, I can hear you all saying. I worked my way through all of the ones that Jim sent through to me, Jim Weir. I managed to get the last ones done, but I was waiting really for a load of decals to come through from Flight Deck. They did come through and they're fantastic, they're really good. The only, well, it's not an issue, but the only thing with them is you just have to cut them out individually yourself rather than them being individual decals that you can just take off. So that took a little while, and it kind of sent me half mad whilst doing that. But I managed to get finished the Albatross D3s that I've had waiting for ages. I did some from Yasta's 37 and 17, 37 being the black ones, and then Yasta 17 being the painted, the wooden painted framed ones, and also I did a little version of Werner Voss's D3 as well as part of that group. It also meant as well that I finished off my Albatross D5As and also the Fowls D3s as well, which are my favourite German aircraft. They're from Yasta 18, so they're in their blue and red livery from 1917. It changed later on. And also I did a few Fowls D3s as well from Yasta 10. I just found a profile in one of my many aircraft books over on the shelf and just did a quick version of that. They're all pretty generic. I didn't do them on specific aircraft because I just wanted them as relatively generic, and at 1/300 it's difficult to see all the details. But that said, I went over to Yasta 11 for the rest of the Fokker triplanes. This was von Richthofen's Yasta. And I did the first couple of groups out of those, Group 1 and Group 2. One of them is Lothar Richthofen's aircraft as well, the yellow one, and a couple of the Aces as well that the Red Baron was flying with. Over on the RFC side, I still had 9 Sopwith Dolphins that I needed to finish off. These were the last ones. I managed to get these finished down the week. Very simple, very easy. But I've got way more Dolphins than I'll ever need, and also a Felixstowe flying boat as well, which again was a really nice little addition. I'm not sure if I'll ever use it in any games because I'm not doing any coastal fighting, but it's still a great little model, so that's just been added as well. I just wanted to be complete. As well, this week we had a fantastic game of Algae this week at the club on Thursday night. It was we had 12 aircraft in the air, so we had 4 flights of 3 planes each. I took 3 Fokker triplanes. We had Albatross D3s on the table. We also had some SE5s and Camels as well. One of the Sprogs in the Camel, one of the Camels was killed in the first burst of the game, so I went straight out. We had one of the SE5s explode from hits as well from one of my Fokker triplanes. One of the other SE5s was going down in flames at the end of the game, and the other one managed to get himself home and safe. But also on the Camel side, one of the Camel's junior ace managed to get himself off the table at the very last. But the RFC got a mauling from the German Air Force, unfortunately for them. But it was a great game. Everybody was laughing, and they all said how much they enjoyed it afterwards, and that is what is most important. I think when it comes to gaming, more so than anything else really. But yeah, it was a great game, really good fun, and I'm looking forward to the next one down at the club with it. So I've kind of, like I said, this weekend I've got to a point where I've completed a project, or I've completed everything that I've got for that project at the moment. So I'm going to have a little break from painting actually this weekend, I think, and I might actually play a game and film it, Chain of Command or something. I fancy going back to Chain of Command. I've not done one for a long time, and I want to do a few more battle reports. And that's something for the future. So this video, this is really a response to VonKetteringham's recent video about what game periods you wouldn't play. What wargaming periods you wouldn't play. If you don't know VonKetteringham's channel, go and check it out. I'll put a link to his original video in the description below anyway. I'm sure probably a lot of you who subscribe here have probably already seen it, but do go over there and check his stuff out, and he has some very good interesting talking points and hobby reports and things. They're always really nice, nice calming videos to watch. But he brought up this idea about, you know, what periods wouldn't you play as a wargamer, and he was looking for responses, so I thought I'd do a video responses. From my point of view, it's easier than writing it out anyway. And it just really got me thinking about what I play and why I play it and how I play it, really. My main focus, as you probably know if you've been watching the channel for any length of time anyway, from a historical point of view, is the First and Second World Wars and also the Napoleonics. I very, very rarely stray outside of those three areas, simply because that's what I'm interested in. You know, I'm not particularly interested in, say, example, the Wars of the Roses or the Wild West or any of the other things that are, you know, big and sexy at the moment that a lot of wargamers are jumping on, like, you know, Ken's Italian Wars and things. I mean, if that's what you're into, perfectly fine. It's great, you know. We're, as Sean Clark of God's Own Scale always says, it's a broad church. You can play anything you want. If you want to do Neolithic hunter-gatherer warfare all the way up to you know, cyber warfare today, then fine, do it. If that's what you're into, then just do it. It's no reflection on anybody else what my interests are, and you know, but I just try to keep things a little bit tight, because it's because of my historical interest anyway, and also it just helps from a peripheral point of view, in that you know, all my scenery is within those broad categories, really. You know, my Second World War and First World War scenery kind of can cross over, and a little bit with the Napoleonic stuff as well. So, you know, I do it really out of economy, and also just, as I say, really because of historical interest. If you look at my book collection, it's mostly Napoleonic, First World War and Second World War books, because that's what I like. But, you know, within those wars, there's problematic issues, especially in today's climate anyway, you know, political climates. Again, you know, I don't want to bash anybody, but for example, I don't use the SS in my armies. I haven't got any SS because they were soldiers, but they were also incredibly distasteful soldiers, you know what I mean, like burning down Orodotsu Glen. But then the issue is I've also got Japanese soldiers, and you know, were they better or worse than the SS when it comes to so we say, war crimes? You know, they did their extremes of violence went way beyond the pale. But I've happily got a Japanese army, so why haven't I got an SS one? I don't know, maybe because the SS are a little bit closer, being in Europe rather than over in East Asia, so to me it's more of an impact, I guess, closeness, I think. But I don't know, you know, I don't know what mental gymnastics I go through to settle my brain in that, but it just seems to work for me. But interestingly, VonKetteringham brought up, he said, you know, would he game the Somme? And I've gamed the Somme plenty of times. I see no issue with that, having been interested in the First World War for, you know, 20 odd years at this point. And what I found was interesting was because he was talking about it from a moralistic point of view. Again, this is not to bash him, but something that a lot of people don't realise is that during the fighting in Normandy, the British Army suffered equal and sometimes more casualties on a day-to-day basis than they were fighting when they were on the Somme. So, you know, if you're doing it from a purely high level of casualties, then many people play Normandy. It's probably one of the most fought over periods or areas from a wargaming point of view. So, you know, how do you balance that out, really? So from my point of view, in the First World War wargaming, I don't really have an issue with it any more than I have an issue with it when it comes to World War II wargaming. And I was also thinking, I mean, from my point of view as well, is there a historical cut-off point? I think since, you know, I was born in the 70s, I remember the Falklands War happening on the news. You know, it's like Joker said in Full Metal Jacket. You know, have you seen any combat? Well, I've seen a little on TV. I mean, that's the most I've ever done is seen it on literally on TV. I've never fought. I've never been, you know, in the army or anything. But you know, it feels like the Falklands War was a little bit close because I remember it unfolding on TV, on the news. The same with the Gulf Wars and with Afghanistan. You know, these are things that are there that are in the background of your life as well as you're growing up. So to me, they don't feel like historical, even though they are. They don't feel like historical moments because they're within my living memory. But yeah, I mean, the Falklands is coming on for nearly 50 years now. You know, was it 40 years? Is it? Yeah, about 40 years ago. So, but it's still, you know, it's still within my living memory. But I've gotten zero interest in gaming any of those periods from that point, and I think it is largely because it's like something that I'd seen on TV and I knew about it from a news point of view. And I think as well with stuff like Afghanistan, I work with a lot of Afghanistan veterans as well as part of my work, and I wonder how some of those would see me playing Afghanistan on the tabletop. To be fair, quite a lot of them would probably be quite interested in it. To be honest, you know, you always veterans and wargaming do kind of go hand in hand a little bit, and I'm fairly sure some of them would be interested in it, at least from a gaming point of view. But then, how would I feel about it? You know, when you're reenacting battles that your mates have been involved with, it's just I don't know. Again, it's just something that just feels a little bit weird to me because it's almost not historical. Because again, it's, you know, we're talking people that you know, people that have gone through things, gone through major traumas as well in those conflicts. Would I feel comfortable playing against them even if they do or they don't? So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting topic, and I don't really have an answer to it at the end of the day, as you can tell from this rather rambly bench report, which has gone from what it was supposed to be into a response video. But you know, are there any periods that you wouldn't play, and why? You know, is it purely down to historical non-interest? Is it down to the conduct of the armies in those wars? Is it, you know, the Mongols, for example, you know, wiping out millions of people in their conquests? You know, how gamey is that, really? At the end of the day, you know, all war is brutal, ugly, and vicious, and people die in it. Whether it was where it was happening yesterday or whether it was happening 1,000 years ago. It's an interesting topic, and again, one I don't really have any answers to. But I'm going to leave you with that, and just a bit of a ramble, bit of a chat and a response. And if you enjoyed it, say so. Give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. I shall see you in the next bench report.